Well, we're doing another live. So, can you be spiritual and be atheist? That's the question. So, start off with a story about me. Uh, can you be spiritual and be atheist? The word atheist means the belief in no God. Okay. And I'll tell you my struggles, and maybe they're yours, and maybe they're not. Um, my deconversion was steps. Um, you have to take a step into the unknown. And my first step into the unknown was leaving the church. I stepped out of it when I was 18. Um, I first started just questioning things. Always been a questioner. Hopefully, got my mic on. Yes. Those questions became bigger questions that became bigger questions that eventually got to the God question. Okay. I stepped out of the church. Okay. That's the first thing I did. I'm live. Sorry, my brother. Anyway, stepping out was not scary for me. Give me a second, guys. My camera is wonky jawed. There. It's better. Anyway. So stepping out of that cocoon of Christianity, I still was consider myself quite Christian. Uh, I still believed in the things in the Bible. I stepped out, and the first person that I started, well, not really starting, we'll back up. Caden's mom and her family uh, was, I would say, Christian, but eccentric, okay? Her cousins at that time believed in supernatural and ghosts and stuff and like that. I mean, um, there was a we took pictures of some pretty ghostly things. Okay, um, but what was weird is I would, and guys, don't go off into this Lulu world. When I went to sleep, they would take pictures and videotape, and all these orbs and stuff would be around me. Okay, and I always thought, okay, maybe these orbs and stuff were uh, something to do with my whatever, because they would fall asleep and do video. And am I gay? Are you atheist? I am atheist. Thank you very much. And no, I am not gay, but I support and defend everybody's right. And I wear a rainbow because I am in solidarity with everything. So, no, I am not gay. Do I believe in aliens? Possibly. Possibly. Aliens aliens could live among us right now and we don't even know it. So, yes, possible aliens. Anyway, as I was saying, they would take pictures and our video, and these things would show up around them. They always show up around me. Um, didn't know. So I started looking into Sylvia Brown. And for y'all that don't know who Sylvia Brown is, no, I was not under the influence of anything. At that time in my life, I hadn't even messed with I drank a little bit, but no, I wasn't. I've never been a big fan of the the smell of what you're talking about. Um, but I have dabbled in that, and it's kind of the same feelings. But at that time, no. So anyway, started looking into Sylvia Brown. Sylvia Brown was very known by Hello Harley, Hello Music. Anyway, so I started researching Sylvia Brown, which she was a Christian Gnostic. Now, the reason I started researching her is because she was very close to Montel Williams. And I like Montel Williams. I really do. I think he's a good guy. I think, you know. But anyway, I started reading her books and started kind of dabbling in that kind of thing. And quite honestly, I brought myself into that euphoria of figuring out what this stuff was. Um, I have my own stories of hello, hi everyone. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get this out and I'm watching the chat too. So anyway, uh, I started dabbling in her and things and started meditating. Yes. Why am I not gay? Hell, I don't know why I'm not gay. I'm just not gay. Anyway, so I started dabbling into Sylvia Brown and understanding somewhat of what she was saying. I was born in 1984. There you go. Anyway, so I started I started looking at her things, but I also was into, if any of y'all know Jack Van Hempy and Hi Love. Yes, I am live. Chicken. Fries. Chicken sandwich. Anyway, um, so I would watch these prophetic Christians, and I started to understand what they were talking about because it's just one of those things. And so I was reading two different things, and those would coincide with what some of the stuff she was talking about. Um, Astral travel and all this other stuff, which it's a mindset. It's a mindset of, something bigger than you. Okay. And at that time, I had started switching to what I was thinking in my mind. Didn't know it yet until later on. And being that said, um, I I stayed doing that for several years, ghost hunting and stuff like that. I personally did not see this stuff, but the family that I was with, they were taking pictures, and I was with them, and we were taking these pictures. But then I would go to sleep. I was the one that always went to bed early because I'm sorry, most of the time I would stay up 2, 3 days in a row because of the way I was working. So I'd come home and crash, and they'd be up, doing other things. But so anyway, so then these orbs and stuff, and I'm like, okay, what's that point? Okay, I'm going to tell you a little story before all this happened. I had bought this. It was my first car. It was a Mazda 323 hatchback. Okay, guys, and y'all can look and see. Um, okay, I understand. Um, anyway, I bought this car, and I we this house has been in the family for almost 30 years. Okay, this is where I grew up. This is my domain. The people in front, I bought my car from them, but I had this dream 2 or 3 years before, and we call it deja vu. Okay, the day winded up progressing, and I had already bought this car and whatever. The deja vu hit right as the accident was happening. My car jumped off. It was hydroplaning, and anyway, I came across when I in the dream. None of this was there, but during the real thing, this is what happened, and I'm going to explain it to you. And y'all are going to say, well, there's going to be a natural, and this is leading up to this spirituality with and not being atheist. Okay, my grandmother was very protective of me, and she passed away in 1998. I was 14, and she had passed away. It was because I was 2001 is when I started driving. Yeah, something like that. But in the dream, I look down and look up, and there's nothing. Well, in the real life, as I say, I look up, and there's my grandmother, a silhouette of my grandmother, and two what I would describe as archangels. That's all I can say is they were archangels because she was quite a bit shorter than them, but she was head level with all three of, or all three had the same head, but her feet were way elevated more than the angels. Okay, the angels' feet were on the ground. And no, I wasn't drinking, and I was going to school. Okay, guys, I was going to school on the way to school. So I look down, and there's these my grandma and these two beings. Well, there was a tear that dropped out of her eye, and I followed it to her feet, and it disappeared. Never reached the ground. Okay, I looked down, I followed it and hit the ground, looked back up, and they were gone. Okay, the second part of this is a Native American appeared to me, or actually, he pulled around. He said, "Hey, James," and I'm not lying. He used my English name, called me by my English name. And I didn't think nothing of it. I just jumped in the truck and he's like, "You heading to high school?" "Yes, sir." And I jump in, and he's got all these Native American, like a tomahawk and all kind of Native American stuff. Okay, and I knew this stuff. I knew what they were because I've studied it, and I've put myself in because that's who I am. That's who where my spirituality lies. Okay, and I'm going to get pushback from my atheist friends. I'm going to get pushback from other people, and that's fine. I can be put. I will take that, but I'm giving you my story. Okay, this is my story, and this is how I explain my life. And I don't really care if the atheist community bites my ass or somebody else does. It's my story, and this is why I am part of the reason I am. So, getting back to that, I get in the vehicle, and he's talking to me, and we're conversating. I don't even know what we were all talking about. We pull up to the high school, and he calls. He says, "All right, changing winds. You're at school, buddy. I'll see you next time." And he hands me this card, and it's got an address on it, whatever. And I don't know where the card went. I used to have it. I think maybe the cop might have kept it. Anyway, called me by my native name, Changing Winds. That's what he called me. Okay. So I get out and I had to take this card. And we had what's called the Explorer program at our school. They were the people that were, wanting to be EMS and fire or police officers, sheriffs, stuff like that. That's what they did. And I hung around. I mean, I was friends with all these people. And being friends with these people, I was friends with I still am with the local police department, the fire department, the EMS. I'm known around here. And they come by and say hello, and they do all that kind of stuff. And they see me out, they'll ask me how I'm doing because I do have some health problems that they have had to come out and help for. And then they'll see me sitting on the front porch and they'll wave or whatever, which it's fun and I like it. And I like being that way where they can, come to me and I can come to them. And so, anyway, I went to the office. I said, "Hey, you mind taking me out to where my car?" And he asked me. He's like, "Yeah, I noticed you were late this morning because I had to be at school at 4:30 in the morning because I went to school from 4:30 to 11, and then from 11 till 1, 2 o'clock at night I was at work because my mom, if you can look at off of the YouTube universe, I've explained it there. But I was like, "Can you run?" He was like, "Yeah, I'll run you out there." And he looked at my car and he looked at me and he says, "You got lucky." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he asked me how the accident happened. I said, "Car started jumping. It's a hydroplane. It's a Mazda 323 hatchback. Started jumping, skipping, and I hit the median, and I'm holding on to the wheel. Well, I had let go of the wheel. I just let go of it. When I let go of it, and I guess it hit a stump. He said it looked like there was a stump or a piece of concrete in the ground there. So when it hit a 9 degree, and my car was like this, and then it wound up like this against the road. And the Mazda 323 hatchback sits maybe 2, 3 inches off the ground. It's not a high clearance car, very low. And he looked underneath the car. He was like, "You didn't break anything, so or didn't break a CV joint or anything like that." And I said, "Well, how the hell did it go from going like this and straight to a 90?" He said, "Well, you hit that whatever." He goes, "It stopped you and moved your wheels." So here's the road. Here's my car. Okay. So I'm trying to put this in a way you can see. Okay. So I'm like this. I don't think we'll do this. I'm not worried about that. Anyway, so I'm sitting there and I'm trying to give you a. So This is my car. This is the road. This finger right here is is where it hits. So it hits right like this. Okay, y'all see that? Sorry. There you go. And he looked at me. He said, "You know, if you would have caught grip, so I'm here. If I would have caught grip, my car would have landed right into the oncoming traffic." And he says, "Well, you were hitting traffic at that time of day, wasn't you? Because the people going from Longview to Hallsville, Marshall, all of that on Highway 80." And I said, "Yeah, it was busy, yeah." And so he uh, he's like, "You know, if you could have died with this." And I explained to him what had happened in my. Anyway, I gave him this card, and it had an address on it. This address, he's like, "There's nobody that lives at the address. It's a deer lease." Or he's like, "But it's nothing out there." I said, "I'm telling you, he gave me this, and I'm not joking." He's like, "Well, I want to call them to get a record to help get your car out." He goes, "And we need to have it looked at." And he's like, "I'll take care," because at that time I didn't have the money. He's like, "I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you, they'll send it to the shop that I go to." I was like, "Okay." There was nothing broke at all. Nothing broke. So he takes me out and he's like, "Look, I told you it's a deer lease." He's like, "Well, can we go?" He's like, "Well, I know the owner. Let's go." I was like, "I want to know why he gave me this address." So the owner comes out. He's like, "Man, that's weird. I haven't been out here in a year or so." It was, I can't remember what time of year. Anyway, he had been out there. He's like, "Well, I hope there's nobody squatting on my," and of course they start going back and forth. You know, if he's like, they knew each other, and but anyway, I was like, "Let's just go see. Let's go look." So we went looking, and the guy that owned the deer lease, he started seeing not, footprints, but broken twigs, and of course that's how you track animals if you don't know. And you start looking for footprints and patterns and wild, what a coyote and you know what a deer looks like, and so on and so on. And he didn't find any human prints or whatever. It was just, mainly wild animals. So we get to this opening, and it's right by a pond. It's not really a pond of water, it's a pool of water. It's probably 6 or 7 foot wide. It's, a few inches deep. But there's remnants of a campfire there. And it had been raining. Okay, guys, raining. But the fire looked like it had, went out a couple hours ago, but it was fresh. And of course, the hunter goes back and gets his gun, and the police officers are reaching down and, making sure he's. I'm like, "God, we don't need all that." "Well, if we find somebody squatting on this land, we're gonna." I'm like, "I understand, do what you gotta do, but don't be pulling out all this weapons right now, because we don't even, I'm a very logical thinker. Okay, we don't need all these weapons right now. This dude gave me a ride, and we talked, and he told me this weird name. I didn't even know what it was. I knew changing winds anyway. Anyway, so we didn't. Hello, welcome in. Anyway, so we're sitting there and we're looking for, and I'm like, well, where's his footprints? Where's that? And, where is he? So we look and look, we can't find this guy at all. And we call it a day and we go to the shop, and shop says, thank you for the subscription. I really appreciate that, Kelly. Um, thank you. I'm sorry, guys. I'm looking up at my stuff that's on my big screen and looking back. Okay, dude. Enough with the how gay are you stuff, please. We're not even on that discussion. Music edits, please. I don't want to have to mute you. I'm sorry, but I can't concentrate on what I'm saying and trying to concentrate on other things. And it's just not appropriate, but I do think, thank you. Thank you for being kind. I appreciate that. Um, but anyway, go to the shop. Car's not broke. Nothing's broke. It's all right, music. Just chill out and listen to the story. But anyway, so nothing's broke. Well, my best friend at the time, his mom was very like Benny Hinn, uh, all into the TBN stuff. They were Pentecostal, but anyway, she's like, "Oh, those were archangels, and they were protecting you." And the Native American, you know, she didn't really pay attention to that. She kind of stayed clear of that. And at that time, guys, I was not like I am now. I I honored what my family said the story was. I did whatever I could to honor my father. Did what I could. So anyway, and she says, "Oh, you came with high protection," and she laced it with Christianity. So I'm not saying, but this is how I'm getting to spiritual and atheist. It will come together here in a minute. Anyway, what inspired me to create content? Um, I wanted to change the world, and the best way of me doing that is a lot of people always said I should be a guide or someone that they used to, you got the preacher in you. That's I don't have that in me. I just have a way of talking and expressing myself and teaching others whenever they want to be taught. And that's just the way it is. That's a good reason. It's a good reason. Anyway, so back to that. Um, so I had left the church at 18, 19 years old, and I started, stepping on. Well, 2019 hit, and guys, I'm going to tell you the truth. I was very disgruntled with the whole Christianity stuff. It really was. And I told myself, I said, I, I need, I woke up one morning and I said I was atheist. Um, so I'm basically it's talking about, can you be atheist and be spiritual, or can you be spiritual without being religious? And yes, you can. That's what I'm trying to explain. Is you can do that. You don't. Atheist is the belief in no God. That's what it means. Spirituality is something totally different. Spirituality is spirituality is the steps, and I'm trying to tell you these steps on why I am spiritual and atheist. Okay, that's what I'm trying to explain, and I'm trying to explain it into a way that it's easy for other people to understand. Hi, yeah, I don't know who you're calling baby, but I don't know who you are and what you are. Anyway, um, so 19, I woke up one morning and I said, I don't believe in God. I think I'm an atheist. Can I explain spiritual atheism? Atheism is the belief of God or gods, or the not believing in a God, not believing in a God or gods. Spirituality is in a different realm to me. If you go back and watch some of my videos, and you'll see where my spirituality lies. Those videos are there for a reason. And I'm trying to explain it in this video to where y'all can understand. No need to report. Just listen to the story. All you gotta do. Uh, anyway, so I dropped religion completely. I said I don't believe it, and it hurt because I wanted to believe Christianity. I wanted to believe that, it's just one thing you have to do, and that's just say you want forgiveness from your sins. That's how I was taught. But then you have to be baptized, you have to do this, you have to look a certain way, you have to walk a certain way, you have to speak a certain way. You gotta stay in this fence, or you're not included. And any of y'all know that I am not one for fences. I am not the one for fences. I don't believe in fences. I mean, I have a fence in my backyard, but I'm talking about a physical or mental fence. I don't think there should be a fence that blocks off Canada and America. I think humans have the right, and any animal has the right to be where they are meeting. It's food, water, shelter, whatever. Now we do build fences to keep. I mean, like I said, I do have fence up, and I'm kind of contradicting myself on that, ain't I? Whatever. But spirituality is in another realm. And this whole God thing is. It seems like you have to put God, and you have to force yourself in, just like a tribe. A tribe is it. You have a group of people, and if you don't believe a certain way, then you can have a church and you can have these little tiny cliques. It's just like it is in high school. You have the the main church, and then you have all these little cliques around, and they're in the same church, but they say separate because they really don't believe 100%. They don't believe 100%, and they try to nitpick the pastor. That's religion. Religion is in this little small little square, and then you have, but all these other groups want to come in and make this bigger. That's not the I believe, and this is just my belief, that we are all part of this bigger picture. This is, and the reason I say that is because what you do matters, what I do matters, and what everybody else does, it matters. Okay? Yes, it is very hard to pull away from Christianity. I've told myself I want to go back to church numerous times. I will say that in some churches that you go to, me and my aunt went to the same church she went to the same church 25 years, 35 years. I went with her. My aunt never questioned my belief system in God. And at that time, I was a Christian, but no other, a lot of people say, oh, these witnesses, yes, there's these ones that want to convert you to their religion. And they're playing the numbers. It's a scoreboard for them. I did see you at the poll, and I did the whole, but I was never comfortable with asking, do you believe in Jesus and do you want him as your savior? Guys, I want to tell you this right now. We are our own saviors. We have a lot of people don't understand. I actually became more Christian like after I left being a Christian, because all that weight that I carried and said, no, I have to be this way, and I can't vote this way and be Christian. Bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Because what you and everybody else brings to the table is so much better. You're welcome. And I'm trying to make a lot of other people feel better too. But we have this stupid way of making everything fit into this one little box. And it's got to be neat, and it's got to be tidy, and it's got to be, you can't have this there, and you can't. Guys, look, and I heard this from one of my, it's not a friend, but acquaintance. Sorry, guys, sitting makes me moody sometimes. Anyway, what was I saying? Anyway, she said, she tells her mom, I still believe in God, I still believe in this, but my heaven looks different. Your heaven, your spirituality looks different than what the next guy beside you does. My heaven looks different than, but that's the thing, is we don't know this stuff. We can't prove, and we can't disprove. We can't disprove God. But here's the thing, in the Bible and in other scriptures, they say we're made in God's image. Well, if we're made in God's image, God had to question something, and we didn't have this until we ate this damn fruit off a damn tree. Okay, if you're hungry, you're going to eat something. If it's a fruit, vegetable, if it, whatever it is, we don't know what Adam and Eve was doing. I mean, they fucking was hungry and they got something to eat, and that's what bugs me too. Is you're making a natural choice. And I'm going to put this with the whole gay thing and the LGBTQ stuff. It is in your nature to like what you like. It's who you are. And that's why I support LGBTQ and the rest of them. That is who you are, and you should not have to suppress it. And so many people fucking suppress it. They don't want to admit what they personally like. I mean, guys, I love sweets and but I can't deal with the mixture of if somebody like Sonic did a dill pickle Dr. Pepper. Yes, dill pickle is on a hamburger and you're eating a hamburger and then you're taking a drink of your soda. They thought maybe that would be a good. I mean, some people liked it, but I mean, not my taste. So it's something I don't like. But I'm not gonna not. I mean, I'm not gonna push. Look, okay. I used to think I was gay because I had things happen to me. I had things happen to me, and at the for even I mean I did I have had a grudge on the whole, but look, after I left being a Christian, yes, it was hard. I wanted to believe in God, and that's where I got so hung up. Is because here I am, I'm finally saying what I believe. Then I'm having to rebuild because as I was a Christian there and I came out of Christianity, I really started nailing down into my Native American things and learning and truly giving a rat's butt what somebody else feels. Because at that before then, I'll tell you one thing, I was not as easygoing as I am now. And sometimes some people will see me and my temper will flare and they're like, I didn't know you were. I was my temper was a lot different. Guys, my meds are kicking my butt today. Sorry. And yesterday and last night. Anyway. So I started really okay, geez. All these messages. Not on YouTube, but other messages on my other screens. Um anyway, the that's the thing is like you I was figuring out what I really believe, and it was very, very hard. And then sometimes it's still hard because I want it to be simple. I want life to, I believe in this guy. He came and died, and all my sins are gone. But my thing is, and I've always believed this, and this is kind of where I think spirituality really lies, is Jesus and there's two others hanging on a cross with him. One don't say anything or whatever, and then the other one, and I think this is in Luke, Sorry, guys. Daughter walks in. Yes.
Tacos.
Tuesday. Uh huh. Anyway, so being said, where was I even at? You done made me lose my concentration.
Sorry.
Oh, girl. Anyway, bruh, as you would
Drink
say,
water.
I'm gonna drink water. I'm almost out. I am out. I'll get some here in a minute. Go on now. Anyway, but I had to, and you have to do this. And yes, I'm going to do this. You're going to put God over, or God and Christianity over here. Oh, I know where I was going. Jesus and the two people on the cross. One says nothing, and the other one just says, "Why are you crucifying this man? He didn't do anything wrong. Please remember me, Jesus." And Jesus says, "Today you will be in paradise with me." He didn't ask them to accept him in his heart. He didn't do any of that. And see, this is what Christians, and I struggled with this, and other Christians be like, "Oh, that's just no." That's a bit. That's saying a lot. He didn't call Jesus God. He didn't call him whatever. He just said, "Remember me." And then Jesus says, "You'll be with me in paradise today." Well, that's kind of weird. He didn't ask him and he didn't ask him to be baptized. So you hear these deathbed confessions. That's what that is. But he didn't ask. He didn't ask. We're talking about him, the stoning. That there's a bunch of religious people around him, and this lady walks by, and they're telling him all these sins that she did, and he says, "For any of you that's not done this, cast the first stone." And Jesus lets her go and says, "Go and sin no more." But I mean, we don't know what happened to her the rest of her life. Now, do we? We don't. Sorry, guys. My battery thing is blinking. Anyway, but we need to take religion and crumple it up and throw it out the window or burn it or whatever. Because religion is cookie cutter. It's to fit in. You're trying to fit in. And a lot of these atheist groups, well, technically you're growing somewhat of a religion without a God. Now, as I said, I am an atheist. And there's other people like Brett Harley and some others. They explain this kind of stuff. And yes, humans do this. We are tribal things. We want to fit in. We want everybody to like us. We don't want anybody to say negative stuff about us. And your group will gang up on somebody else's group. And that's what I see it in my own experience. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I am the peace chief of a tribe. But if somebody wants to join our tribe and they don't even have to prove native If you want to join and be my tribe, you are free to come and go as you want. Just be peaceful about it. And if you have if you have a problem with somebody, well, it's your problem that you need to figure out. And if the problem comes with somebody else's actions and they know it, and you talk to them about it, they can only change what they want to change. Just understand that being a Christian doesn't, or you can follow the teachings of Christianity and follow Christ and not consider yourself a Christian. A Christian is a title. It's a title for a group of people. And you have a group of Christians here, you got a group of Christians here, you got a group over here, and you got one down. And yes, it feels like we're so alone. And I feel it too. We all want to be accepted. We want to be accepted into a group of people. But if that group of people is toxic to you, get away from it. That's what I have to say. Is you can be. Bring them here. But just like when you're in high school or junior high, let me see. No, it's broke. It's broke inside.
Your mom's with us.
Oh.
She's gonna not be happy about that. I already told her so. She didn't care. You're looking at me worried. What?
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
She photobombed me. Or would we consider photobomb or video bomb?
Video bomb.
Video bomb me. But my daughter will tell you, you don't have to fit in. Don't fit yourself into one group of friends or one group of
Be
whatever.
whoever you want to be.
There you go. That's coming from a 14-year-old.
Don't let anyone say anything and you change yourself into something you're not.
See? And that's coming from a 14-year-old. So, get out of here. But seriously, you can be. And you're going to have atheists swing back at you. You're going to have pushback. And you can't get away from that. Goodness gracious, y'all. Anyway. Don't let that be pushing you into the corner. That's all I'm saying. I've explained to you some of my... And guys, there's things that I believe in that I know-ish that doesn't exist. It's in my head. Or it's just a thought. And I believe it without really putting much thought to it. And you can too. And I guarantee you there's somebody else that believes the same way you do. And you want to be in that group too. And you want to be the center of that group. And you want... Look, I understand. I do this and it's hard for me. But 42 years on this earth that I've lived. Guys, it doesn't matter if you, I mean, look what I surround myself with. Gnomes over here, I got Native American stuff, and people talk shit about me. I wear freaking rainbow shirts and double ear or 3 earrings in this one, 2 in this one. I'm bald, I'm gray, and I got a long beard. I wear tons of jewelry. So what? Guess what? I go to church like this if I wanted to. Because it's who I am, and I don't give a crap. So you or anybody else don't. And if I say something and I really think on it and it's bad, I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said it like that. And I'll be the first one to admit to me being stupid. Sorry, I don't know if that word's kosher. Uneducated, okay? Let me put it that way. And the only way that you or me or anybody else is going to learn from that is somebody telling us. And your spirituality it's not a religious thing. Okay? I'm going to give you this one more instance, and it's why I believe the way I do. As I was in this journey of deconstructing and reconstructing, some of y'all may know that my totem animal is a deer. And one day I got the nerve, and I did it. I'm surprised I did it. I have this flag that's made of Native American outcast. It's part of my identity. If you see that big patch with the A that looks like a torch, it kind of came from that. Atheist adventurist is how I put it. The double A is what I call it. The double A patch. And I was carrying that flag up a main road with me and my brother. It's hot as monkey rear ends. And I'm carrying the flag. I have full regalia. I have my headband. I have feathers in my hair. I have makeup, or I have war marks and stuff on me. I didn't record it. Wish I would have. But I'm walking down the side of the road, or in the grass, and 2 deer step out in front of me. Probably a good 20 or 30 yards in front of me. And I didn't say this out loud. I said it in my mind. Hey, deers, y'all need to go back in the woods. And they were staring at me. I need to go back in the woods. It's not safe. And they looked at me and jumped back into the woods and took off. I see that as a spiritual thing. I saved my spirit animal's life. And I did this when I was deconstructing everything I freaking believed. I made that flag on a whim. I still love it, but everything that I have, and you see the turtle shell on the back of my staff, on the top of my staff. Sorry, guys, if you don't like me searching oil. There's something about things that happen. And you make things and you don't even know what especially us creators. We make stuff and we don't know why we make it, and it sits up on a shelf for X amount of years, and then you pull it down and you're like, oh, this would be cool. And you feel like it's been sitting there that long. Just like my headband that's back there. I made it 6 years ago. Why? It's still mystery. That's spirituality. That's not a God. You're not calling on a God, and you're not believing as in a God. Now there's going to be people say spirituality is religious. Okay, well, when an atheist, there's things that an atheist does. Maybe he gets up in the morning and he takes coffee or whatever. It's something he does every day. It's a ritual. It's part of who you are. It's your spirit doing its thing. And people, and they're not. You're not gonna. I know people's not gonna listen at it as a spiritual thing, but I do, because if you do something on a regular basis and you put your heart and soul into something, if you're a painter or you make things like I do, you're an artist of making things. That is spirituality. That is spirituality. If you're willing to do something for free. There is a weatherman, and I'm going to name him Garrett Lewis. I love this man. This man taught me so much about weather when I lived in Arkansas. I met him a couple of times. We've talked a couple of times. He's a Christian. He left the church when all this other stuff was happening. And he has stepped out and said, I am still a Christian, but I left the church. And the reason he did was for personal reasons. And now he's looking back and he says, you know what? I should have stayed and I should have pushed back because of but he's living in Arkansas, guys. And it's even being a normal, what we could call a normal Christian, or technically I think it's an abnormal Christian, because it takes people that are Christians, like April and Tim. I can't remember their show name. What's up with our internet? My internet having issues. That's great. I guess internet went down. Anyway, guys. Technology, give me a second. Making sure we got internet, at least. Okay. Sorry. Internet's been funny. But that's the thing is, you can be, and I think the true Christians, what they call true, I think those will stay true. You will start seeing the true ones standing up. They will stand up with anybody else. They will stand up with the LGBTQ. They will stand up for equal rights. They will stand up for freedom of speech, religion, all those things that we hold dear. And that's the thing. We have to be all involved. We can't keep putting ourselves in these little groups and thinking it's okay to do that. It's okay to segregate. That's the word for it. Each other into these own little tribes. And I don't like calling what my things in the tribe. I really don't. I don't feel comfortable with saying there's a, I'm in this organization. It's kind of why I do this stuff on my own. And yes, there's people that I watch on YouTube, and there's people that I conversate with or make conversations with. And we don't see eye to eye. There's some Christians that see what I see, and they embrace that. So, guys, look, deconverting from anything is bad and not pleasant. But when you deconstruct, you start reconstructing on what you really are. And that's the message. Just don't fall into, I want to be this, and I want to feel that you are loved. You are welcome. You're welcome at my table any day. Any day. As long as you're not treating people like crap, and you are welcome to come. With that being said, there's links in the description. It's called Gnomemansland Village. It's a website. Go to it. It's down there. I have Patreon. I have Facebook. I have YouTube. But No Man's Land, the village is where I see everything going. It's just, that's my community. There's a community on Facebook. There's a link right here. Come take this journey with me. Light your own fire, make your own path, and make it run through No Man's Land Village. Okay, guys. I will talk to y'all later. We will chat on some other topics. Like I said, everything's in progress, and making progress is moving forward. So don't let, if you want to be spiritual, be spiritual. Don't let anybody else tell you that it's funny or bogus or dumb, because it's not, and it helps you. Okay, have a good one. I will talk to y'all later, and see you later, guys.